Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all the beautiful people tuned in, which is 100% of this audience, welcome to Day 9 Learns Dota, the show where I learn Dota. We got Coach Purge here. Purge, a new patch came out disrupting everything. We're starting the show over. Everything's been erased. No, okay, so I think this is like a really important topic that we're going to tackle at some point today. How the hell do you adjust to new patches? Not specifically what is the new patch, but like, how does one process a new patch?
It sometimes goes better and other times worse. For me, this is probably the worst so far for me out of all of the patches so far. I played a lot of games
Ooh.
yesterday, and a lot of things, a lot of habits that feel normal for me in the past now just feel really bad, and it makes me lose games, and losing games is not fun. So yeah, there's definitely changes that are really big in this patch, and it's going to
Yeah.
require a little bit of a focus shift for sure.
Oh shit! I unplugged my audio. Oh my god! Can't believe
I'm
what's
saying really important things right now.
There we go.
So
Okay,
important.
no, it's back. Please tell me those
Okay.
so important things.
Mostly the jungle change was massive. The jungle change prior to it was also massive. The one where camps would only respawn at odd minutes, but
Yeah.
now it got put back to what it had been for the entirety of Dota, which was every minute a camp would respawn. The reason they reduced is because they added more camps on the map and made the map
Yeah.
slightly bigger. So now it's kind of like they're like, well, we want camps to spawn more because it hurt all these heroes that are good at like clearing jungles. So I guess we'll just make them spawn every minute. And we'll reduce the gold gain and the experience gain. But then the problem is that the heroes that are good at killing each camp one by one are now much worse at jungling than they used to be. And as a whole, just jungling kind of sucks right now. So I think.
Well, look. Walk us through what we're supposed to learn today, and then let's figure out where to slot in patch notes. Because I have all sorts of questions I want to ask about
Yeah.
all the things.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll cover the rest of high ground today. When we were writing the episode last week, it felt like there was tons of parts of this that we weren't going to be able to cover without getting into other topics. So we just wanted to cover the other side of that, which is like strategies that you should be doing when your opponents are trying to high ground you.
Yeah.
And the overarching theme and like the pathway that you go through is pretty straightforward. It's things like preventing the high ground attempt,
Yeah.
like tricks you can do, how to maximize the advantage that you have, and stuff like that. And then at the end, we can dick around about patch notes for as long as it takes. And realistically, that may be half the episode because the
Excellent.
patch is pretty big.
And also, I'll just note for any of you who are watching this on YouTube who don't want to look up yourself, you can look up Dota patch 7.06 is the one that we're talking about today. There's been several patches since we started this show, but most of them were a little balance tune here, a little tweak there, but 7.06 tossed a whole bunch of stuff out, which is tight, which is super tight.
I want to say toss stuff out. It's more like tossed a lot of new things in, whether it's
Yeah.
heroes or talents or things to consider. So always more exciting things to learn, basically, is what the case is if you play Dota. You can expect a patch guaranteed every 3 months, no matter
And,
what.
you know, I gotta say that this is something that I just adore about the structure of Dota, because I think that, like, in the modern day and age, a critical question is what makes people stay interested in your game. Like, not every game is a Brood War or a Quake, where it's just like, no, we just haven't touched it. It's just the same game. Like,
Yeah.
everything constantly has new content, and I feel like Dota feels like a TV show, where it's like season 6 of Dota. All the characters you know in a different situation. It's like, what's going to happen now? But it's not a George R. R. Martin TV show, because in that case, all the heroes would be dead at this point.
Yeah, they die once in a while when they get reworked, but it's never like so extreme that you
yes.
never want to play them again.
It's
But,
more like Scandal, where they get killed, but you know they're coming back.
yeah, or like they get maimed and they have to slowly grow their arm back. So you're like, well, that hero's just not playable anymore. There goes my love for the game. Hopefully you like more than one hero, because then you can ensure that there's always something
Yeah.
you're into in Dota whenever they get those rough patches. So we can talk about high ground. The first basics of this are pretty straightforward. It's stuff we kind of covered last week.
Right.
Defending high ground is preventing your opponents from taking a barracks, which gives them a gold advantage and a tactical advantage from the lane always pushing. So the first thing is we just want to refresh is how do you even prevent the high ground from happening? Can you remember any of that off the top of your head?
Yeah, the big things are, in order to prevent the high ground from happening, obviously there's the preventative measures, like pushing lanes out, so that way you can prevent backdoor protection. And then there's the nuanced ones you talked about, like intercepting a lane way ahead of time, so that way you prevent their way from getting to you. In terms of the actual defense itself, the big ones I remember were trying to have characters out to the side, like there was the Universe Magnus example that you gave. And those are the significant things that I remember.
Aren't the other ones that are less team fighty? Like you said, push lanes out. That's a big deal. Kill the creeps before they arrive, if possible. That way you can make sure that you have backdoor protection. Kill them as soon as you arrive. We'll start that 15.5-second timer to make sure that your towers will be defendable. Or you can be even dirtier and you can creep cut, which was where you'd be on the map somewhere. And as soon as the creeps would spawn and leave the base, you jump out there, kill them really rapidly, and get out. And by doing that, it's the same thing, except your opponents won't expect you to be there usually if they don't have a ward. So that's another really good way to protect against that. So those are the simple things. Kill creeps before they arrive or creep cut. Split push if possible. That way, if they do want to go high ground, they're getting a bad trade. Or they might take like a kind of dangerous team fight as a result, which if they lose it, then they also get raxed, which would be terrible if you're winning. So lots of little things like that. But yeah, covered a lot of that stuff in the past, so we have no clips for that. And that is the reason we're starting on clip number 4.
Boom! Wow! Oh, look at that. I literally see clip 1 through 4, and then I'll have X's in front of them. So we're going to start right here with clip numero 4.
Wait, is it 5? 4? 4?
This is 4. I got 4. It says never give up.
Okay. So, basically, you have a lot of defensive advantages in the enemy in the base, right? This is mostly a Sanders fun clip, but as you can see, that he wrote too easy, and that's him losing the game 80 minutes later. You might want to replay this, because it's kind of hard to catch the context.
Okay, so, you know, let's slow this down. This is a Sander fun clip. I've been seeing him online playing a ton of games.
Take a look at the, we're 29 minutes into the game. That's a super creeps, right?
Yeah.
Huge disadvantage. But they have defensive advantage, right? And this is when he types too easy. That's actually back in time, but it's important to show the context, right?
Oh, and then 80 minutes later.
80 minutes later, you win.
Oh my god. Are we seriously 79.50? And they, oh my god. And he, Spectre has heart. Oh, Jesus. Okay, holy shit.
Okay, extreme example, but always defend. A lot of players do get down in the dumps when they start losing a game or if their allies suck, but you can always win a game, like always win a game. Unless you're playing against like a pro team, then it's usually unlikely. But in an average game, abuse your defensive advantages, like the fact that you can buy back and TP in instantly to abuse. There's still shrines. There's not as many shrines. The amount of shrines in base actually got nerfed. Yeah. I think there's only 3 now, I believe. There used to be 5 or something like that. But you still have those advantages that you need to abuse. So that's important. Take fights in your base if possible. And the other stuff that are absolute basics are that you have from a defender's advantage is you always have true sight because of your tower. That's a huge advantage. And the tower damage. Those 2 you can't underestimate at all. So the next most important part is, of course, keep vision advantage. You want to play clip number 5? So you'll see this all the time in streams.
I forgot to bring up a lot.
This happens in your games as well. But those little circles where the circles don't intersect is the place where your opponents can put observer wards. So when you're looking to defend your barracks, it's extremely important that your opponents don't have those wards on the high ground. Because if they do, it's going to allow them to initiate a lot better.
So basically the hidey spots where you would want to conceal a good initiator like a Magnus.
Not exactly. If you want to play the clip again, we can talk about the exact context. I'll go back to the start, that is.
Yeah.
It's not about heroes hiding in those locations. It's about them placing observer wards there, which is why we're doing the clip with the sentry. If they put an observer ward there, then they can see the high ground. Because if everything on your team, when you're trying to go high ground, is on the low ground, you can't see uphill. So you, like you said, you can't see the hidey heroes, the Magnuses, the Axes, the Tidehunters, the heroes that are about to initiate. Because if you see them, then you can kind of predict when they're about to go in, or what you can do is deal damage to them to prevent them to blink.
Or you can have already had a Pudge on the team and just hook them. Too easy.
Exactly. So there's a lot of little plays you can make around that, but wards on the high ground is by far one of the most important things. And it's not necessarily just wards on the high ground. It could be flying vision, like Caudal Eggs, Night Stalker Eggs, Clockwork Rockets, stuff like that. So why don't you play the rest of clip number 5?
Clip number 5. Here we go. Clip number 5, Staying Alive.
Okay. So this is an example from a pub game I played. This is the Radiant side vision. This is what they can see. They can't really see that far outside of the base. And this is the Dire side vision. So when I was playing the Slardar game, I knew that it was time to go in, and I knew where they were going to be because we had a ward. You can see it slightly to the right there.
Yeah, and there were only 3 heroes there that you could see visibly with 2 together, so it was an easy blink in.
Yep, pretty easy time to go in. Now, the trees do block the vision a little bit, but ultimately it still gave me useful information. Here's another example for a Clockwork. He shot a rocket to the left. Now that allows him to predict where the axe is going to be. As a result, he gets to initiate, which forces another hero death, which means that now your team is just screwed. So this is like one of the important basics of defending as well. Is that if you have dead heroes, you don't do greedy stuff, and you don't let your opponents kill an extra hero. Because like in that clip that just happened, there's only 2 dead heroes, and they were dead for like 15 seconds or something like that. But because we have high ground vision, and because I'm able to initiate and stun, it guarantees that we get a 2 racks. Because now they have an even longer death timer. Like, that's the worst place to lose a team fight, is in your base. Because they're already at your buildings. That only is not scary if your creeps aren't there and backdoor protection exists.
Yeah,
so,
you know, this makes so much sense. I mean, as someone who... I often just do stuff I see other people do, but there's not an explanation provided to me at the time. I would see people place wards up in the base, and it didn't occur to me what it was actually getting you, other than it's deep and you can kind of see them there, and seeing them there has to be good, right? But like the whole idea of, because you're specifically trying to break the high ground, and specifically they'll need to spread out in these sorts of patterns, so you can look for pickoffs and opportunities much better.
Exactly. And especially at nighttime, because remember, daytime vision, heroes can see 1800 range, but at nighttime they only see 800 on average. So if you have an observer ward, those see the same vision day and night. Therefore, you really need a ward on the high ground at nighttime. Otherwise, you just can't see them coming. They can usually, like somebody with an Aether Lens, they can probably cast a spell on you without you even knowing they're there. Like, they'll just cast a spell and you won't be able to react. Impossible without vision. So there's a lot of dewarding the cliff spots or the in-base spots is super important. And the other important point, obviously, don't chain feed. Wait till your allies are fully up. Try to defend if possible without getting engaged on. Wait till everybody's up and then take a team fight.
Sean, don't chain feed. Let me take a moment to just fully digest that. Don't feed. It's good. I'm gonna try. I want to let you know I'm trying in the games today. Okay.
We'll see. Wait to see the results though. Might be hard in this new patch. You can see clip number 6 if you want to play that really quick. We can look at the defensive vision. This is a game that Virtus Pro played versus OG. I want you to pause it right here. See that observer ward that they placed right there? It's placed right on top. It's literally where the mouse is, in the middle of the screen next to the 2 chakras.
Oh, good lord. Yeah.
So the purpose of this ward is the same thing kind of, but from the defensive side. They want to make sure that even though it's nighttime, that if their opponents are approaching the tower, that they see the maximum range possible.
And also out into these little side areas too.
Yeah, that could help a little bit. I mean, they have buildings over there, so they'll probably be able to spot things. But when somebody is walking high ground, they can only see as far as maybe where those green range creeps are at nighttime. But if they put the observer ward right where that tower is, it serves 2 benefits. Gives them really good night vision, and it's so far it's within the true sight of your tower, which means that if they try to sentry it to deward it, it's very difficult. So they're very unlikely to place a sentry that allows them to kill that ward as well.
Yeah.
So this is like a 3-level next level ward right here. But you can do simpler things, like if you imagine a little bit south on the map here, you could put a dire ward there. That way, like just right imagine here. Down the lane. No, like off the screen basically. Like down the screen where the next cliff is. If you put it down there somewhere, it serves the same purpose. It spots your opponents as they approach. It's not as likely to be dewarded. Like you could ward the cliff one, but everybody dewards that one, right? The cliff one that's a little bit to the southwest.
Yeah, right here.
No. Off the down. Screen again. If you go down a little bit.
The high ground.
Yep. The high ground. Yeah, I should have said high ground. I'm sorry. So the high ground
cylinder of vision, one of the many cylinders on which you place vision things.
And those are really good ward spots, but they're commonly dewarded.
Again, man. I gotta duct tape this shit in, dude, man. This is a disaster. Kevin, hello.
Hello. Can you hear me still?
Yes. No, okay. There's literally just a power cable that's like one of those wet noodle power cables where you tap it and it's like thump, and it just falls out, and it happens to be my audio. I don't know what loosened it. It used to be a firm, strong power cable, but now it's noodly.
I have a monitor power supply like that. It's quite aggravating because every time it barely disconnects and my resolution changes and then has to change back again.
Ugh.
But that's awful. So resume the clip here, and you can see some other cool wards that VP put down in this game to try to defend. So this one was good because it'll allow you to see your opponents when they're approaching, and they put this other one over here. Not the best ward because it doesn't give you very good vision. It really just covers these 2 little cones, but it's harder to deward in that place. So it's kind of the same thing basically. VP wants to see their opponents approaching because if they see it in the right situation, it will give them an opportunity to initiate correctly. The vision game always happens, whether it's them attacking you, whether they're going high ground, all of that stuff heavily changes who wins the fight, especially at the pro level. So be careful about vision. Don't let your opponents have those good wards. Try not to fight in places where they do have vision of you as well. Do you want to continue the clip as well? We have some cases of EG playing against OG doing this as well.
So
ward is
EG
placed.
is Radiant this game. Okay.
Yep. OG has a gem. No, I'm sorry. This is actually a Sentry D ward. They D ward that almost instantly, which makes it harder for EG actually to initiate there, of course. I don't remember this part of the clip. So you're going to have to ride along with me in this one.
All right.
I think I'm going to have to... Let's watch it again from the start of that segment, because I want to see exactly what we're looking for.
Let's do it. Let's go, man. Let's keep rewinding and... No. Wow, it's even farther back. Okay. You know, I'm going to slow it down. We're gonna 0.8x this.
Okay.
We're going to discover this. This is the art of learning here. I mean, like, right away, you can see that EG has, like, that super in-base ward here and right here.
This is not pro teams anymore. There was we've seen a jump.
Oh, shit, these are two completely different games!
Yeah.
Alright, well, I mean... Not EG, but Radiant just has insane vision right now.
Yeah, especially the ward that's in the base really helps, because they can see exactly who's behind who. So Bane gets a good Frieden script, for example, which makes his fight easier by a bit. It still looks kind of bad for them. And the Dire also had a ward. I'm sorry, they both had the same wards, actually. Dire can see everything as well. I didn't see that the perspective just changed. So they have wards pretty much everywhere as well. But I'm sure it really helps in the... Oh, this is that really long game. This makes sense now.
Oh my gosh, of course. Yeah, so like they have the vision, so they're able to defend this super well.
Take slightly better team fight. Like, the initiation was kind of rough in the first place, and that's why I was kind of confused about the clip. But the initiation was rough because the Dire team could see the Radiant team and how they were approaching and how out of position somebody was. They just got hit at the start, but like didn't matter that much, and ultimately didn't affect things too much. So let's look at some more high ground potential. We have one on clip number 7 as well.
7, walking up the ramp.
So
this sounds like something I do.
What we're trying to do here is abuse the initiation advantage, which is when you go in over your opponents. And this is the same Slardar game that I was playing.
Yeah.
But if you just pause right there, take a look at remember where the SF was standing at the start of the clip, basically by the tower, right? Just by pulling him that much out of position, and now forces all of us on the back line to adjust as a result. So for the first couple seconds of the fight, because he hooked me, or he hooked the Shadow Fiend forward, it forces our back line to spend a couple seconds reacting to that by running forward, which obviously delays our ability to initiate. Like, I'm not in blink rage on the Slardar anymore because he got hooked so far away. Their whole back line is set up behind the Pudge, so that kind of like movement that they're allowed to do with Pudge is a huge advantage. You can do the same with like Venge Swap. Force Staffs are really good for this as well, because a lot of people don't anticipate that. They'll just be hitting towers, or I think in this Slardar game I did the same thing. Pudge was standing near the cliff on the side. I just forced him down and stunned him, and then we killed him, and it was like I swapped him, and all it takes is a Force Staff. So little like positioning movement things can make a big difference as well. So abuse the initiation advantage, force your opponents to react, and then you can see the rest of the fight too.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure as you've seen, all the games where I get a Force Staff, I just use it to move around. It is
on
purely an evasion
no one else.
item. 100%. Yeah, well, because, I mean, I knew that it could work, and I think 3 times in my entire life have I ever gone, oh my gosh, I can save my ally with a Force Staff. Only 3, but... Now this is like not just you can catch an enemy out. It's like in this specific position, there will often be many enemies nearby loitering to defend, and that is a specific instance where a Force Staff is very useful. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
And look at the net worth difference here. We have 15k net worth at 40 minutes. Like, we are stomping this game. But resume the clip. You can see what else happens. So we're grouping up basically to try to help out the Shadow Fiend, and as a result, we end up clumping way too high. And then they get
my god! Oh, and the BKB even went off on the SF, so it's not like he got stun locked or anything. It's just like how bad it is to be that clustered together and that forward together.
Yeah, exactly. So they just win the fight because they pulled our Shadow Fiend way out of position. We move forward to try to initiate as a result, and then we get out of position and just get like AoE comboed. Which we probably, like, if the Shadow Fiend just stands where he is and he keeps hitting the building, we probably don't make that mistake, because we're not, like, emotionally reacting to something that happens that's really bad. It's like, we could just wait for our opportunities, have our high ground ward, wait for our 3-man initiations or whatever, but instead we're forced into action because we need to protect the Shadow Fiend because he does a lot of damage. So abuse that initiation advantage as the defender.
Sense. Man. All right. Digestion occurring.
Good.
Mmm.
Was that your lunch or the Dota knowledge?
Both.
Both.
Dude,
Okay.
the Dota together with the chicken and the black beans, there's no way I won't lose weight.
Sounds good. You could burn calories thinking, right?
Oh
Think that's
yeah,
a
no,
fact?
yeah. Yeah, no, I bet you that if you hooked up a whole bunch of sensors to a Dota player, the sensors would indicate increased caloric burn.
Okay. Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
that. All right.
I don't know what the device is that determines that, but I assume it uses a sensor.
It's probably invasive, right? You'd have to drill into somebody's brain to do it. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
you like stick a tube in them. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Just
for
like,
sure.
don't worry, this is science.
So as was exploited in that clip, hero clumping is always something you need to look for as a defensive hero.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
pointed out last week, the ramp is essentially a vacuum. It's a limited area that people have to walk through, so it helps you predict where people are going to be and go in at the right time. So once you play clip number 8, this is basically what you're looking for as a defender's advantage. And right at the start, if you want to pause, take a look at the sentries that are on the map. See where they are?
Sentries on the map. Okay, yes,
Or,
they are at
or on screen, that is.
100% of locations.
Yep, basically
They're
covers
everywhere. Yeah.
the tier 3 tower's dead, so they lost that true sight, so they put a sentry there. They put a sentry on the right side, they put a sentry on the left side. That way, for sure, their opponents don't have vision. And do you see why that's really important in this game? Like, what heroes stand out to you as that mattering for?
Bat Rider. Oh my god, that's really significant for Bat Rider because he's just going to blink in and wreck stuff.
And,
That's definitely the biggest one.
and Batrider has vision problems. I think his day vision is only 1200 or something like that, so he has below average day vision.
Oh, that's
He
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he really needs his opponents or his allies to give or vision for him ideally. That way he can find who to blink lasso. Because if he blinks in with BKB and lasso somebody like Enigma and pulls them out of position and they kill him at the start, then fight's won basically. So
Yeah.
vision and AoE important here. So why don't you press play? Can you guess this is going to be an Enigma clip? Do you feel it coming?
Well, now that you've said that, I see the Enigma selected. And as a video maker, I think this is a very nice subtle touch called foreshadowing. Okay, let's see how it goes. You know, actually, I'm going to slow this down. I wanna enjoy this.
Okay. Well,
I feel
let's
like.
look
Go
at the
ahead.
radiant positioning while this clip develops as well. And I want you to, if you're playing Enigma right now, the AoE is pretty big. I don't think you played Enigma before, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've spent enough time in a black hole to know how painful it is.
and if he's black holes in the wrong spot, Bane can grip him through BKB, although he does have a Lincoln's which will block it, or he can be overgrowth by the Trim Protector.
Oh man. All right, we're doing that one more time. Oh, I slowed it down even more. Hold on. We're gonna get it full speed. We're gonna hit Alt left, left, left. Yeah, so Sven is just leading the charge a little bit. Just a little bit of chippy chip. It's when the Bat Rider goes in.
So it isn't necessarily. I don't know where the Triento was at the start of the fight, but you don't always get 5 heroes, and that's okay. Like just grabbing 2 heroes that are important is a really good thing.
Yeah.
Like one significant thing about the way the Enigma played that was Trollhead was using BKB at the same time he got Black Hold. So I think all the pure damage still goes to the community. So he guarantees disables the Troll for a couple seconds, and once that ends, then he's just gonna get disabled by like Witch Doctor, Venno, OD, stuff like that. But even catching 2 heroes can be good enough, as long as you see a good opportunity where they're not going to be able to react in time, which is what he was able to take there in that fight. And it groups
Right.
him up with Sven. Looks like the tree actually blinked right into that. That was stupid.
Add
Makes
a
lot more
tree.
sense now. Yeah. So look for those opportunities, and if you wait too long, like they did lose their range backs there, but at least they took an opportunity before they lost their melee backs. So sometimes like fishing too long can be a huge problem. So if you wait too long, then you lose the buildings, and you lose the time standing around, and they get advantage. It's just a pain in the butt. So you have to take the opportunities that you actually see.
Right.
So most likely we'll aim for you playing teamfight heroes today, I think. If you feel comfortable trying one of those, maybe we'll give you an easier one.
Sounds great.
When you're the other thing about high grounding is knowing when your opponents have made a mistake. That comes a lot down to knowing the heroes a bit. But you can kind of understand simple characteristics for most of them, such as if I am an initiation hero and I blink and I miss my initiation, that means that I can't blink for minimum 12 seconds. And if I keep taking damage, I never can blink again. So for some initiation heroes, this is like actually really dangerous to miss your initiation. So why don't you play clip number 9?
Oh. All right.
So
This has probably been me before, like blinking out with Nyx Assassin and then literally missing the stun by like a 90-degree angle.
and then you're basically just screwed, right? If you do
Well,
blink aggressively.
well, I hit E and begin to scream at the top of my lungs. Oh, Axe. Oh, God, Axe.
And Axe, I'm sure there's been lots of times where you were blink called by Axe and you die, right?
Oh,
Happens all the
yeah.
time. Blade Mail is strong. It allows your allies to follow up. All that stuff is really good. But if you miss your call, then that means you have to walk out. And the only other way to get out would be something like a Force Staff, which is very common for Initiator heroes, for those cases where if you mess up, or if you initiate and you're done initiating, it's time to leave. The Invoker is fast on the response, though. It's an opportunity, right? So basically defending is this like dance of, do I have vision over them? Do I see clump potential? Have they made a mistake that allows us to punish and chase? Because as soon as that Axe dies, I guarantee that the Radianters were just sprinting out of their base. They're like, we just killed Axe, he messed up, let's go see how many more kills we can get. Because if you can get like 4 kills right there, you push out the map again, maybe get some map control, maybe that leads to a gank that gets you back in the game. Or Roche or something, you know? Something like that is really good. So, yeah, just simple defensive things. Other heroes that are kind of similar, Wraith King. I'm sure you've experienced that. Blinking in, if you don't kill the first guy, you're kind of just like, I wasted my BKB. They're kiting me now.
Yeah, you're just wandering around, and then you die, and you get to feel bad twice.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Get resurrected in the same shitty position, and you're like, oh, it's just as bad as it was in the last life.
Yeah, so most initiation heroes are like that. That are blink heroes. Centaur certainly can be the same, but he kind of has like a get out of jail free card just by pressing Stampede and running away. So sometimes it changes. Another really important heroes I think that are generally overlooked in low level games, like PA and Ricky, because those heroes have a blink. It's their ability, but it still has a 4-second cooldown. So if they blink aggressively and they realize afterwards it's the wrong time to go in, that means you have 4 seconds where that hero's actually not mobile, assuming they're not magic immune. So seeing windows like that are really important to abuse as well if you're on the defensive side, or really the offensive side. Goes both ways. But obviously for high ground, you're forcing somebody into like an awkward initiation potential situation. So seeing those small nuances will really change whether or not you win the game or not. And past that, I think we have like 2 more clips. I think before we can get through some like hypothetical clips that we have of you.
Yeah.
So take a look at why don't you watch the team fight first and give me your overall thought about how it went for both sides.
Oh, for,
or just like
a full clip. Okay.
Just read the team fight basically and why you think it went that way.
Well, I mean, at this point in time, it started off not looking the best for Dire. I process these things fairly slowly, and they're in. Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay, so let me rewatch this a few times. Okay, so it started with everyone going ham on Invoker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, basically it was like the clutch Yules to buy time for the rest of the team to get there. And then the whole team loiters right underneath, which gives time for Legion Commander to get off that insane Q.
And respawn as well. And I believe the Disruptor also bought back. Maybe you can spot him during the fight. He buys back right here. We'll see how he gets in. It looks like maybe he just walked blinks or something. Yeah, he just walked in basically.
Yeah.
I think he also got hooked by the Pudge, so the Pudge helped him get that Static Storm off.
Meteor rolls onto him. Yeah, so this looks like super overcommitment getting punished by just nicely timed buybacks, and also the entire team clustering and clumping together.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, always abuse those advantages basically. And sometimes you can bait stuff. Like the average pub player never actually baits things. It very rarely will happen where like they'll say it all the time. They're like, "Hey, I died, but my whole team killed." They'll just be like, "I baited you." They didn't. They got out of position and they got killed, and their team backed them up, and they're like trying to make up for the fact that they're a dumbass. But
I do that. That's me. There it is. I'm that man.
But that's really good to do defensively if you have something like a Bristleback or a BKB hero or something like that. It's really effective to do that because it forces your opponents into a better position. That was maybe not the best example because it was an Invoker, but he still bought himself 2.5 seconds. Then he ghost walked afterwards. Then he threw a lot of damage out to make up for it as well. So Baiting those kinds of situations or playing around those clips are really good for team fight winning stuff. And I think we just have one more clip number 11. This is one of my favorite defensive tricks to do, especially when you're losing.
Yeah.
Is basically wrap around and appear somewhere where they don't necessarily expect you. So why don't you pause at the start of the clip if you can.
Oh,
You'll be
wow.
probably confused. All right, take a pause and just look at the icons on the map really quick.
Yeah, look at them. They're working their way around.
So that's the Radiant heroes approaching the back of the Dire side that's also smoking up to their racks.
And here's this Monkey King who's just ready to die. He's ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. So if the tower's gone, that means you can actually approach this area smoked without it breaking until you attack something, because only towers and heroes will reveal smoke. So what VP wanted to do is they wanted to approach high ground while smoked and hope that somebody was sitting there for a free kill. And they got one. It was the Monkey King. But at the same time, OG was also wrapping around, expecting their opponents to do the smoke wraparound, or the smoke high ground trick. So there's lots of little ways that you can abuse smoke like that to try to gain an advantage. Here's another one. This is Liquid versus IG, I think from Kiev probably. And Liquid
the VP OG series was especially good.
Yeah, it really was super good. Look at the vision that Liquid has right now as well. They just placed those wards that were at the top of the screen 2 seconds ago. If you just jump back the clip just a little, you can see them again.
Alt, left. All right, well, let's watch this barracks fall first.
Okay. Beautiful. All right. So they're approaching. They already have a sentry up there. I believe the Phoenix walks forward and puts an observer ward down. And if you pause it right when his ward drops, look at his positioning as well. Trees in the way, so that he probably didn't get spotted there. I think there's an animation bug on the replay, which is why he still looks invis, because his smoke, if that is the smoke, should have broken by now. But now he has a ward outside the base that gives him vision of pretty much everything around their old tier 2 where it used to be. And now that allows them to initiate from an angle that they won't necessarily expect. Whereas IG just wants to run the Lifestealer to the front to hit buildings because it's safe, because he uses Rage and he's got an Aegis. Yeah. So this instead allows him to hit the teamfight heroes on the backline, which ideally would be like Magnus, Earth Spirit, Tinker, maybe Lena as well. And now they get to actually approach, go on the Earth Spirit.
Oh my god.
And now Lifestealer, look at Lifestealer. He's like, I'm trying to help, but he hasn't done anything. He actually did nothing for that whole fight. Finally did something. Cast Open Wounds. All right. Nullified. That guy did nothing. He could have had 0 net worth, and you wouldn't have been able to tell the difference, right?
Whoa, that's the wrong screen. Okay, question.
Yep.
When I am in a team game, I can imagine this working. But if I'm in a pub game, do you find it's effective just to be like, you stay here, you 4 come with me, we're going to wrap around from the back?
Sometimes. Usually in the lower level games, when people ping a smoke, everybody runs from everywhere on the map. And it's the thing that most pub players need to learn is, like you said, like a limited effort, like 3 hero smoke and go somewhere to gank, not 5, because 5 is inefficient, especially if you fail. It's like you lost the game practice. It's not like that, but you know. Very inefficient if it doesn't work out. So it could definitely work with wraparound stuff, especially with initiator heroes. Most players aren't going to want to do that. They're going to want to sit in base where they feel it's safe. And sometimes it's dangerous to do that as well. Like if you're smoking around at nighttime and you don't have observer wards or some vision skill, then sometimes you might just run into them and give them the same reaction that you have because you won't see them coming. But I would say most pub players, if you're ready in time, you can certainly handle it. And what I'd say is what you need to do is do it ahead of time. You can't be like, hey, they're hitting our buildings, let's smoke and wrap around. That's going to take you 20 seconds at least to get into position. What we have to do is they're 5-manning, they just killed our tier 2. We need to be here right now. Everyone smokes, we run mid, and then we wrap around. And just as they're about to go high ground, before they put their wards up, before they start hitting the building and realizing that nobody's there, that's when you initiate. And if you do that, you get the initiator's advantage. The downside is no shrines. Buyback TPs will be farther away, but if you're behind far enough, that's the kind of stuff that can get you back in the game. Because there is still a little bit of comeback mechanics that if you win a team fight, it gives you a lot more gold than they would have gotten from killing you in a fight. So initiating advantage and that kind of stuff, and smoke wraparounds, and those kinds of tricky things, whether it's a pudge hook or a force staff to the high ground, all of these tools and situations are like, there's like a list of 50 of them or something, but you need to find the right one for the moment that will give you a better than average team fight to hopefully win you the fight that gets you back in the game. So that's kind of like the finish up of last week's episode of other things that we didn't mention that we kind of needed to cover. Vision advantage, proper team fight, AoE when grouping, that kind of stuff.
it's interesting when you mention these things. Like I think this week the vision advantage really clicks. Like looking at the specific situations, especially the black hole. Um, there's a couple things that you've said in the last few lessons that I just literally did not even see in my games. It was completely off my radar. Like pushing lanes causes people to be revealed, so push lanes. All I can see is when our lanes are not pushed in and we're all just sitting in middle, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, we have to push the fucking lanes. And I feel that the same thing's going to be true for Vision, and I'm going to be one of those people who says nothing until like 20 minutes into the game and is like, we need wards.
Yeah.
Can someone wards? Not me. Certainly not me. That's $60. I'm on a budget, man. I'm saving for a Daedalus. But can someone buy wards?
Yeah, I do the same thing. I played a solo queue game where I was Bane and I was doing really well, but Bane can't push lanes, so it got kind of frustrating. We started losing, and eventually we lost the game. And I was like, hey, maybe I should have said anything on mic to direct my team for the first 40 minutes since I was the high MMR in the team. And I just didn't, right? It isn't until like you're losing where you're like, I should have really told my allies who are 4.9k MMR to do something better. Yeah, verbalizing is absolutely a big help if you can do it. We actually have a couple clips. You said see it from your eyes. We've got X1 to 4. Let's take a look at those.
X1
I'm sorry, X1 is not your clip. That's a pro clip.
Oh, you mean the replay one?
Yes.
Oh,
actually,
God.
I totally forgot about the X clips. Actually, maybe we should do those first. Right. X clips are I have notes for both of those. So one of them's an aggressive buyback that was really effective. This is OG versus EG.
All right. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So the hero we're focusing on, I believe. I think somebody has to die first.
Oh, Ember. Yep. Ember dies. TP's back. Here comes Ember. Holy.
So the negative for him is that he only gets half of the gold due to buyback.
Yeah.
Because there was a period in Dota, terrible times, when games would be 3 hours long because you could win a team fight with a buyback and you'd make just as much gold as you just paid to buyback. So the games would never end, basically. But there are times where it's worth it. Maybe he didn't even get all of his gold back, but he's also getting levels, and it allows his team to get a Rax as a result.
Yeah.
So this is it. Yeah. From his perspective as well. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, it makes sense that he is taking a temporary loss in gold and advantage to get this different long-term gain of the barracks being down.
It's very situational, though, and usually it has to do with boots of travel. Anything else is generally not worth it. There's times where maybe like you lose a fight and they all die back, so you can buy back and end the game. There's stuff like that sometimes, but generally you kind of want to ignore it. And yeah, he actually lost a lot of gold in that fight if you look at the numbers. And ultimately, they did lose, but
you can see in terms of damage, he was one of the huge damage outputs. Mm-hmm. Also, this Phoenix is a badass. Look at him, man. Look at this Phoenix right here. Mm-hmm. And is that Terrorblade? That character? That's
Terrorblade Arcana. Yep.
Gosh, man, those portraits it literally looks like someone just threw a tomato at Phantom Assassin. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Do you want to play Clip X2? This is another example of the smoke at a high ground to get a kill. Kind of similar to what VP was trying to do. This is OG doing it against VP here.
Oh.
Just waiting. So they get a Monkey King out of it, which is pretty good. Definitely very good.
Oh my god.
And then they just kill buildings. And now VP thinks like, oh, we don't have buyback on that hero. We'd have to take a 4v5. Now there's no... Look, see where they're standing right now? They're by their throne. They're not even getting close because they know that shit's over. The Rax is dead no matter what.
Oh.
All tricks you can use. Defensively or offensively, really.
Jeez.
Couple more. Keep going with the clips.
All right, I'm going. This is clip X3, man. We're going through all the Mega Mans.
So it's titled "Kill Them Before They Gather." This one's kind of significant because I think this is that same super long game that Sander played, but he had wards. They had wards down, showing that not everybody was standing behind the Shadow Fiend. Because if you watch the beginning of that clip again, it looks like your typical push. Like Shadow Fiend's pushing the lane up, he's going to kill this creep wave, and then they're going to high ground. But the reality is that you see the Witch Doctor to the left, which tells them that if they initiate on the Shadow Fiend, who's right there, he's actually pretty out of position, and the Witch Doctor is running the opposite way. So this is one of the big dangers that you have if you're effectively split pushing in all 3 lanes, is that you can't have all 5 heroes together at all times, because there's 3 lanes that you have to push, and they're separated. And on the defender side, all the lanes are technically closer, because you're on the inside of the circle, the convex part of the circle. So having wards outside the base helps a lot. Even if it's in a bad spot, can really help guarantee that. Oh, this is that... You can skip clip 4. That's a rehash of...
Yeah.
Oh, I understand now. You played that at the start because you thought it was clip 4, but really, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
You ruined the candy for the start of the show.
I know. I'm like, guys, okay. Ares dies at the end of disc 1. Let me tell you about this game called Final Fantasy VII.
My brother was so sad, dude.
Oh yeah. Dude, everyone I know was devastated, man. Just a whole bunch of middle schoolers weeping.
All right, so I got one other thing that we can look at if you want. Do you want to watch some replays of you defending high ground from previous games, or we can hop over and talk about the patch stuff? Any desire to painfully see your mistakes?
Oh yeah, let's watch 1 or 2 of those for sure.
Let's do the Slark one and the Lena one. I think the first 2. The Slark one's super long, so maybe we'll just do this. Do you remember these games?
Only faintly. I played a lot of games. I played I think 25 games in between last show and this show. I can say, before I watched this clip, Slark I had a very hard time with because I haven't actually sat down to watch someone play... Or at the time of this, I hadn't actually watched someone play Slark to kind of just get the gist of it. Yeah. This is something that I still lack. I don't know if it'll ever come to me or whether this is just how my brain works. I need to watch someone else play a hero and just kind of get the gist of it before I'm ever able to do anything. And the example I always use is that Yule's into Lena stun, into Lena ult and Q just did not occur to me until I saw someone do it. And I was like, of course. And so in this game, I recall having zero idea how to even participate in team fights. Very similar to the Slark game that you watched me play last Wednesday, where I could farm and rat, and that was my skill set. Yeah. So I would assume, having not seen this game, looking at this... this was a game I played with Adam. Yeah, Adam's Warlock. Adam also, get this, Adam has come out of the woodwork and is playing Dota for the first time in I think 18 months or 2 years. And so he came back to a hell of a change. And I was like, Adam, let me tell you about talents and sanctuaries. All right, so I assume this game goes badly. Let's watch it.
I didn't see the end of it, but the clips, yes, absolutely. So you have a dead hero. So you're in a 4v5. Right. They're at your base. And they have one hero that's split pushing. So what is the decision that you should make right now?
What is the decision I should make as the Slark?
How do you react to this? If they have 4 pushing your mid, they have 1 back in their base, and you have 1 dead hero.
I mean, my presumption is... Okay, I don't know, but here's 2 options I have, both of which I can justify. And maybe one of them's wrong, maybe they're both right. We don't know until I start talking. Here it comes, Kevin. First one, I should go back to base immediately because 4v4 plus our towers means defense. Another part of me wants to say, the tower plus 3 of them is a pretty even fight, so I should be split pushing. But upon further consideration, if they have 1 back at base, I probably shouldn't be split pushing because a 1-on-1 plus tower is really hard for the one without the tower.
With that said, you are playing a hero that's very good at solo killing and very good at ganking. So I would say your options are, if you can kill that Necro, then kill the Necro and split push. But if you don't think you can do that...
I died right here.
Oh, let's press play and see.
I vaguely remember screaming fuck on Discord. Or something like, I can't fucking stand this hero. There I go.
Oh, man.
There it is. And...
He thankfully he removed it from camera because he didn't want to embarrass you too much.
Oh no, I remember this because he was really low, and I was like, "Fuck it,
So, do you see what mistakes you made?
Let me rewatch. I can't both do a show and process this at the same time. All right, so here we go. La 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 la. What mistakes did I make? Probably engaging without full health against the Necrophos.
No, that wasn't it.
Then no, I have no fucking clue.
Okay. Sanders' point is that you didn't use your TP. He highlighted that with his mouse. He gave you the foreshadowing there. But I think your mistake was you didn't use Silver Edge, because it would have broken the Necro passive for 5 seconds, and it would have reduced his damage output by 50% for 5 seconds. So if you actually fought him to the death, and you got him really low, but you reduced his damage by 50%, and if you hit him with that, especially to start the fight, and you pounce him, then he's committed. And if he ulties you there, then the ulti does almost no damage in the first place. So maybe you kill him there. If you kill him, then you would TP back. But ultimately, you could look at it and say, hey, I could just TP back to base, maybe take a fight. But you got the worst of both. You died solo, and your allies lost.
Oh, dude, yeah. And
so
I want to...
Not good.
I increasingly remember this moment because, this may have been like game 2 or 3 that I'd played with Slark off stream. And I was like, I still hadn't watched any games. I wound up watching a few on Saturday and Sunday. But I went on him. I remember this so clearly now. I went on him, and there's this moment when I'm inexperienced with a hero where I'm like, it's like when your crush says, hey, Sean, and you're like, when you're in like 7th grade where I freak out. So I'm like, here we go. And then he just turns on Ghost Walk, and I'm like, oh, fuck, attack the creeps. And then he just like brings me down to no health. And if you recall from the Wednesday episodes, I just could not remember that I had an ultimate. Plugging that into my brain sequence, that was hard. And so here I was like, and I literally like hit it as fast as I fucking could. Yeah. And then that's when in my head I thought, I did it. I actually solo killed someone. And then he whacked me down. Yeah. And oh my god, I was correct. That's when I said, fucking hate this hero! Oh god.
Glad we got to bring it up again. Yeah, I think you could have killed him, or at least gotten him low enough that he had to feel like running, something like that.
Oh, it's so good.
And then your team kind of just lost to Rex because of it, I assume. At that point. All right, here's another case of this happening.
Yeah, I'm farming. I'm farming, man.
You're hitting creeps. You got a dead Sven for 7 seconds. Your Ember just died. He probably got glimpsed in a static storm. And what do? You run across the entire goddamn map.
I walk it back. I walk it all the way back, man.
You did have a TP.
Well, see, literally, I just have no idea how to engage. Like, I think I actually kill this guy and said something along the lines of, oh my god, I killed somebody. Do I kill 2 people? Die.
I mean, they were standing there when they died. I don't know if it was you. Nope, you just got that one guy.
Just one, man. That's it. I'll take one.
So your ulti usage, first of all, was a mistake because you didn't need to become untargetable against the Disruptor because he didn't have his ult. Maybe he glimpses you, but you also got there late, so your Silver Edge hit didn't hit, which is a downer.
I may have very well just jumped into battle.
This fight is definitely the craziest for the way that you played it. I'm quite certain you did almost nothing, but it looked like you were helping.
No, doing almost nothing is very much so the feeling that I have had 100% of the time when I'm playing Slark, other than farming and ratting. I have, like, at this point, like, okay, so if I'm Lena, there's little plugins that I have in my brain, like, if they get close, I can hit him with a stun, and if I do that, then I can Dragon Slave and hit him a bunch of times. I need to be selective with my ultimate, because I have all these ranged options, I can always chip away. It feels like there's a lot of triggers that I'm looking for, but with Slark, I'm like, I guess I'm going to try to get in, kill someone, and get out, so someone else start the fight, and I'll try to get in.
And that's where you're messing it up. You've got a Shadow Blade off cooldown, you got a BKB, and you got your ultimate. And you have a lot of mana. It's time to party. Unless there's like a teamfight ultimate you're scared of, like RP or Disruptor Static Storm or something.
So get real specific with me. When you say it's time to party, imagine that like I'm a freshman in college, I don't know how to party yet, and you're the guy who's going to haze me. Tell me, here's my tools, how do I party?
All right, this is what you do. You press Shadow Blade, or Silver Edge in this case, then you run at your opponents, ideally the squishiest one, either Shadow Demon or Disruptor, and then you hit them until they die. And if you need to, you press your BKB and your ultimate. Basically, you BKB right away. You're gonna Silver Edge. You're gonna run in.
So like I'm supposed to be the one who's just marching straight on in there.
Yeah, because you can guarantee that you don't die for at least 4 seconds if you use your ultimate. And if shit really hits the fan, you try to pounce out. Like, look at your HP right now. You have
Yeah.
3.4k HP.
And I was terrified. Like, literally,
Yeah.
I built tanky, and I'm just thinking, how do I get more tankiness, man? I don't know how to stay alive with this fucking hero, man.
I mean, your items are good. I think your items are good. The hero you have to be a little careful of is Chaos Knight. If he uses ultimate, he does a lot of damage. You have to worry about the Disruptor ulti, which would silence you. If he has an Ags, you have to be worried. If not, then it's not a big deal, because you have a BKB, which stops it. Timbersaw is good against Slark in like the early mid, but not so much in the late because your HP gets high enough that his pure damage doesn't do as much. You have to be worried about getting Necro ulted if your BKB is not active, and if you haven't used your ultimate, or if you're low HP basically. So if you just like Silver Edge and run in there and start slapping their heroes, it's not that big of a deal, especially as long as your team follows up. So let's see what you did.
Oh no, I mean, I know this was one of the fights where I just thought, I gotta watch someone play this because I don't feel like I can do anything. Look, I run a little this side, and I'm like, farm.
But another thing you could have done there is Silver Edge and run around and hit the back line.
I think I was so scared due to...
You actually clicked 0 heroes there. Could we play that again?
Yeah, let's take a look.
You right-clicked exactly 0
I would
times.
be genuinely surprised if I hit anyone. Well,
So
if I'm close, I have a tendency to A-click. That's a little programmed in me from StarCraft, but I don't even think that I did that.
Yeah, I don't think so. So again, the simplest way to go in as Slark is you use your invisibility tool, you walk into melee range, you hit somebody, so that way you can't miss your pounce, and your Shadow Blade damage goes through, and then you press pounce and Dark Pact instantly. And in your case, you'd want to BKB right away to make sure that you didn't get stunned by somebody, or you didn't get silenced from the Disruptor. But the way that you're always approaching, you did this a lot when I first coached you, you would use Shadow Blade, walk into melee range, then start casting spells. You wouldn't hit first. Or sometimes you just don't use Shadow Blade to get in close. But Shadow Blade is all about like gap close, basically, and helping to ramp up your damage. It's like a Blink Dagger.
Here I come. I think
Walking in, you got silenced. Right. So you press BKB.
Yep. All right,
like,
I click.
Oh, Dark Pact. You cast a Dark Pact, okay?
I did not hit a man.
You did at least 500 magic damage.
I didn't hit anyone. It literally was, I am the pacifist Slark who just comes by and purges, and incidentally I influence those around me.
Yeah, they were more confident. They were what you needed on your team. They needed somebody to walk in, to be like, that guy's going in, so I'm going to go in. Dude, you're like the guy in the war that just like yells even though he's also terrified.
I can be that guy. I can be that guy.
Okay.
I want to watch this Lena clip because I know Lena much better. Oh, I remember this part. I remember being very pleased with myself because I was in the front. I was the person who was trying to chip at the tower. I think I had one friend nearby.
Yeah, there's a...
Yeah, Jorge.
Do you actually know that guy, or you just...
Yeah. His real name isn't Jorge, but I'm not going to tell you what his real name is. It's just not Jorge Posada.
Okay. I think not sure if I...
And I'm this way now.
It's good. I like the monkey kill. And then you denied yourself. Pretty good. But you probably shouldn't have got initiated on, I feel. Start the clip again really quick, if you can. And just look at the map a little. It was good that you're chipping the tower, but you did very greedy chipping. We can't see you. You gotta change your overlay.
Oh, shit.
Change it again.
Oh, my God. Oh, wait, what the hell? Oh, for God's sake. Here we are. Oh, God. Okay.
Saved you. The one time I'm actually looking at your preview.
Yeah, so it was probably that one that was maybe a little too greedy, this advance forward. I think the first set, but, like, we see nothing on the map. All of the flank has no vision, so I should have probably run, because there's no vision,
Or after they glyph like that, it's almost always a tell like, hey, number one, they're watching me, for sure, because they glyphed it. And usually you don't want to stick around for 5 more seconds, so it's better just to leave at that point. In a lot of cases, glyphs will scare good players from committing to a push. But your deny was good.
Nice.
But you definitely stayed a little bit too long. So there's a lot of there's so much pushing circumstantial nuance, like, well, they have this, but they also have this item which is rare, so that makes me have to change how I think about it.
I'm so glad that the Lena clip was a nuanced one and not a Slark-like one. Where you're just looking and you're like, oh my god, literally everything that you're doing with Slark is wrong. Like, oh, that's great.
But Lena's not bad, and she's still a good hero. I'm happy to announce for you. So, do you want to talk about the patch a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the leading question that I want to ask that was brought up right before the show began was, how should one react to the patch? Like, what should you do when thinking about a patch in general? Because we can talk about the specific big things here, but this won't be the last big patch to ever happen to Dota.
Yeah, I mean, step one is always have fun, right? Like, Dota's about enjoying yourself. So the easiest thing to do is read through patch notes, find something that excites you, and try it out. And then you get to find out if it really sucks or not. And most of the time it sucks, not only because it's maybe not what you thought it was, but usually because your build idea is wrong, or maybe that's not the right way to play it. Because everybody is basically at equal level of knowledge at this point, right? Like, nobody knows what's actually good anymore, technically. But you can figure it out by playing. So step one is have fun. But ideally, the best way to jumpstart that is to watch somebody much better than you figure something out first. So a lot of discovery in Dota comes down to people taking a hero that is seen maybe even as bad or sometimes just good, and then seeing what build they do to catapult them into like an amazing territory, like the Lena Bloodstone build with the respawn time. Super abused, right? So I think what you should do is maybe look at the heroes you write or play already, check for talent changes that you might want that might open like some creative juices in your mind about, hey, wow, I've got this cool new talent for Enchantress at 25 where I get 6% more impetus damage. Like, wow, maybe I want to hit 25 really fast, or maybe I want to pick
Nature's Prophet, baby.
Or Nature's Prophet.
Teleport, 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 teleport.
Yeah, where like you can read stuff like that where you're definitely going to see meme videos and all the crazy stuff that you can think of. So to answer the question, which was like, how do you react? Honestly, it doesn't matter, but you can always get like, at the least, I think reading the patches is your minimum. Read the patch so you kind of know what changes are there. That way you can kind of react to it. So, I would say the biggest game meta stuff that you should pay attention to is definitely the jungle changes. The fact that neutral creeps give you 20% less experience at the start of the game is really impactful for a lot of jungle heroes.
Yeah, like, I feel like the biggest changes here is, first of all, the deny mechanic feels absolutely insane. Like, that's so much less experience. And I actually played a game. One of the things I was doing in the last week is a whole bunch of my friends were free to play Dota over the weekend, so I didn't do very much solo queue. I just did a whole bunch of team matches. Most of them are much higher than I am. They're like 4K. A few new players who are 2K. I just revisited some heroes I haven't played in a while, specifically Nyx Assassin and Zeus, and my god, I was up in a lane where it was like a support doing nothing but trying to deny, and the carry was doing nothing but trying to deny, and it was so hard to keep up in levels. I think this is like ridiculous.
Well, it's better for you if they deny compared to before.
You're getting I thought this was the opposite.
Normal deny experience increased from half of the experience to 70, so you're gaining more experience than you used to when somebody denies. The difference is that
I thought it was the opposite.
You think that you get less experience now?
Yeah, I thought that like I read this as normal deny XP increased from 50% to 70% means that they used to deny 50%, but now they deny 70%.
So you'll learn something. The patch notes are not always the most detailed. Can you hover your mouse over the question mark? Maybe that'll answer it for us.
From either lane or neutral.
Completely unhelpful. Oops, my one second, my headset battery just died.
So.
All right, we both have audio phones today.
Hey, okay, so let me see if I'm reading this correctly based upon what you've said. So instead of getting half the experience, I now receive better than that. Yes. But my opponents are also receiving experience for having denied.
Yes, the experience that was lost by the creep being denied now goes to the people denying, which is why supports were spending more time denying, because the supports that sit in lane all the time doing nothing are now doing something. They're getting 30% of the experience because the carry is usually busy last hitting.
Oh, so that's why I felt like this Silencer Void combo I played against was getting ahead of me in XP. It's not because I was receiving less, it's because they were focusing so heavily on denying.
More than an average player would, yes. Because they're thinking about the patch, yeah. So it's basically it's better for
Oh.
lanes that are winning the lane than it was before. But it's also better for off lanes that are losing the lane. So if you're just within experience range, it's actually better for you, with the exception of the fact that they're leveling a little bit faster. So it matters, but I think this is more impactful maybe in the mid lane than other lanes, perhaps. I'm not quite sure yet. I mean, at this point, anybody's
Yeah.
guess is a little bit wrong. You'd have to ask pro players.
See, I have design comments on this. This makes sense to me because this is saying the edge that exists exists in a way that's actually bigger now. It used to be a 50% differential and now it's a 60% differential. So skill is still a significant factor, but people are still getting the tools of the game at an increased pace so they feel like they have more control.
Exactly. So it doesn't feel just like a stupid mechanic, like, oh, that experience is gone forever. Like everybody's earning technically, and it should accelerate the game because there's always more experience being granted
Right.
technically. Right?
Righty right.
So everybody should hit 25 more likely, just by a small margin.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely matters. But I think it's
This is less dramatic than I thought it was because I thought it was just like you could absolutely shit all over an offlaner because he was only getting 30% experience. So it was just like rah.
it's guaranteed that just the difference of players denying more often is probably why it felt like that, because they were literally focusing on only denying. What they should have been doing instead is just pulling, because now that camps spawn every minute, it's way easier as a support to pull. So now this is probably a big aspect. The strategy as a support now is to pull through every time if possible. When I first taught you pulling, that was like new shit. Like you should always stack pull the large camp. Now we're back to like the old strat, which is pull the small camp and pull through to the large camp because it respawns every minute. So you can just pull all the time. You don't have to stack it first and prep it. So it's actually easier to pull now. So supports can actually get a lot more pulling done. The downside is, of course, the camps give less experience in gold. That's probably the biggest change, is that the neutrals give less experience in gold.
Yeah, I also
in the
feel
game.
that the jungle feels like the most dramatic change
Yeah.
in the
I
entire thing.
I played jungle Enigma and it was awful. Like actually awful. You can use demonic conversion. You can cast your demonic things on lane creeps and get that experience now. That's kind of fun. But that's like the only benefit. Midas got nerfed heavily. Like just basically jungling without AoE is terrible now.
Yeah.
Do you know what the big patch winner is? Do you know who the best carry is right now? Have you seen him played?
Let me. I'm gonna take. Gosh, why do I come to this screen? I know it's because I click on this is the normal screen button. This is the show screen button. Okay. Who do I think would be the best carry now? I feel like Sven would be insane, but maybe
Yep,
that's
that's
because
it.
I've only really.
Yeah.
He's the first carry I played.
Really?
And then when the new patch came out, everyone was like, you don't want to do him. He sucks in the jungle now. And I'm like, okay. And then when this thing came out, I was like, Sven would be ridiculous. And,
He's really good right now because there's more camps. He's also not really that hurt by the less experience in gold game because he has cleave anyway, so he jungles so fast that it doesn't matter. So probably like anti-mage and Sven. I haven't checked anti-mage's win rate, but I feel like he's also better because of Battle Fury.
Yeah.
So Sven's really good right now. Like almost every solo queue that I played yesterday, Sven in almost every single one. Because if you're playing support and you have nothing to do, your new options are bounty runes and stack. These were like your staples in the past as a support, and you can do that now. So stack camps, stack your ancients, let Sven clear out a 4-stack later. Like, it's way more stuff to kill for Sven. His GPM has definitely gone up as a result, and his ultimate
So
got
sick.
buffed too. So, yeah, it's a lot of winners, a lot of losers, but we gotta wait to see who ultimately wins.
Yeah. All these make sense. They're removing the 42 respawn talents in the game.
I was very happy with that.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like from a design perspective, respawn talents feel very binary. It's either like it is a huge, unbelievably powerful effect, or don't even get it. It's worthless.
And
feels
it's
like
not
a
even
reward.
fun. It's not fun to grab that talent. I'm never like, nice, just got 30-second respawn. I never feel that way. But if I'm like, man, when I die, I summon a golem on death, that's so exciting, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
something to play around, to
That's a
theorycraft
great
around.
point. Yeah, because
Like-
I mean, I used to die as Spirit Breaker and be like, I can compute that the amount of time that I have lost is lower because I have a 48-second respawn, and given the time in the game, I think it should be a 78-second respawn. Like, shit like that. But I think that item changes, Aether Lens not giving health regeneration hurts a little bit because a lot of the heroes that I would get them on, I felt like I wanted health regeneration because I was doing so many spellcastery things, but this probably makes it a lot better on a support because they have Boots Tranquility anyways.
I think it makes it better on almost all heroes, because the reason you buy it is to increase your cast range, which means you're spending your mana, which means
Yeah.
you kind of want mana regen. I think it's ultimately a better change. With that said, I built it a couple times, and every single time I was like, I wish I had a force staff to save my allies, or a blink dagger or something like that.
Yeah.
Was almost always what I wished I had instead. But yeah,
Plus 250 damage on techies.
haven't tried it yet, have you?
No.
You haven't even played that hero, man. Come on.
No, never. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be like, I played techies for the first time ever and just go damage.
That wouldn't be good.
So, are there any significant things in the patch notes that you'd want to be like, Sean, you need to zero in on this being really significant? I feel
Stacking.
like the jungle and stacking and the respawning of the creeps and the experience of the creeps feel like the biggest ones to me. But I don't know if there's anything super significant outside that. I've heard a lot of people say that Desolator is just so insane now.
Desolator is really good, especially on like PA, for example, because you can buy Desolator and get a Mask of Death for 1100, so you instantly get 15. Like you can buy cheap lifesteal. You don't have to buy like a 2500 gold Vlads, which is overly expensive. So that's really good. But I think I would wait to see fleshed out builds before I'm confident that that's overpowered or whatever. Okay. I had a couple of games where people were buying it in stupid situations, and you still have to remember that Deso as an item is best against low armor heroes, and it's just because you can build it doesn't mean you should. Basically, there's gonna be a lot of that happens in the next couple days. So yeah, just stacking and pulling through as supports and stacking as a whole is definitely the biggest one. That is like the biggest staple of Dota that I completely ignored mostly for you because of the fact that it was so hard to stack due to the last change. So focus a lot on stacking if you can.
So yeah, so given that the games that I should be playing today, I feel like I should be focused on heroes that actually I feel like supports would be good to play today, given the fact that there's a lot about vision and dewarding, as well as stacking and that sort of thing.
And ganking, definitely. Ganking's a big part now.
Yeah. Are there any heroes? Okay, so here's my most played heroes. I'm amazed I've played this many games with Nyx Assassin. I am just shocked. I'd like to note that I have raised the win rate for Nyx Assassin to over 40%, which is pretty tight.
Impressive.
Thank you. It did feel pretty impressive to me, achieving 40%. Are there any characters that...
I would love to see you play Enchantress today and try to focus on ganking a little, like most... Because keep in mind, your creeps, you won't get as much gold out of the creeps. So if you just AFK farm the jungle, you're not going to get as much. You should do it sometimes, obviously, but don't just sit in the jungle. You should be ganking a lot, creating map pressure. Keep in mind, there's going to be shitloads of neutrals all the time, so you're just always ready to go, basically, with neutral creeps.
It's going to feel good.
That would work good. I would like you to play maybe Crystal Maiden or Lion, something like that. Some kind of like a roaming support, I think could work quite well. And maybe like some kind of teamfight initiator. I mean, you could probably play Nyx. I think Nyx would be all right as well. Just because it'll give you a bit of a feel for defending, hopefully, or going high ground as well and initiating that way. And hopefully you can break 40.3% win rate today.
Hey, there it is. I like break exactly what you're at today. I think, by the way, I told you about this game. This game felt good. This game, look at this. 20-0 and 15. Next.
Let me see that scoreboard.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, it's amazing. The 30k damage. Dude, what happened is I was in lane against Juggernaut.
Okay.
And I solo killed him 2 or 3 times, which felt amazing. And I bought Blink first, and then I was like, okay, it's time to get the Dagon. Because I was just so far ahead, and I was just blowing everyone up. In particular, this Abaddon, he was so far behind that I could Dagon him past his ultimate and just kill him. So he just got a half health, and I'd go, and you see the way I'm laughing right now? I did that continuously for the entire duration of the match. It was 40 minutes of me just laughing. This is the greatest game of Dota I have ever played, my friend.
That was the one you're referring to when you tweeted. Okay. It looks like it was fun. 0 deaths. That's pretty good.
0 deaths. No, literally, I just hid. At some point, I just went back to the base. This is gonna be a perfect game, guys. You finish it. Oh, Nyx.
Jealous. That would have been fun.
Okay, so we're gonna do a CM, a Nyx, and an Enchantress game today.
Sounds good.
All right, and the big topics are going to be high ground defense, high ground offense, particularly with vision, and doing lots and lots of ganking, and also yelling at people to push lanes, because I certainly as hell aren't doing it.
Exactly.
Well, sick. Is there anything else?
Nope. I think that's all. And I'm sure you'll have more questions later when you think about all these patch changes that you play against and forgot about.
Indubitably. Well, for now, I am now going to play 3 games over the next several hours. I'm going to stop and get a little coffee first, but we're going to hop back into those games. And then Purge is going to do a review of the games that I just played, followed by a live coaching session where there is a 1 out of 12 chance that he will play. Very nearly did last week, which would be super sick. So thanks so much for watching this particular episode. Thank you, Kevin, for preparing all the good old clips as always. And thanks to Gamer Sensei for sponsoring this. In the similar vein of the fact that this is a show in which Purge coaches me, Gamer Sensei is a site you can go to find coaches for the games you play, not just Dota, but all the big ones: League of Legends, Hearthstone, StarCraft, CS:GO, and so on. Really nice interface. I was showing it off a few weeks ago. But there's a link down below, pages.gamersensei.com/learndota, where you can sign up with our little discount codaroo so you can get jumpstart to that at a lower price. And for us, it's time for me to go into the world of Dotes.
Good luck in your games.
Luck is what I need. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set the duration on my amazing overlay control to a very short 2 minutes. We'll be right back, guys, and we're going to hop straight into that gameroni. Thanks, Kevin.